Hi, I'm Eric Norrie, owner of Hawk Paints, and today we're going to talk about how to use Hawk Epoxy to repair a hole inside of your boat. Inspect hole for any cracks that extend away from the hole and clearly mark entire area that needs to be patched, being sure to extend out beyond the damaged area a few inches. Cut the marked area with a saw. The area around the hole must be beveled to allow layers of fiberglass to fill the hole with a smooth transition. To figure out the area to bevel, measure the thickness of the hull substrate and multiply it by 10. This is the distance from the hole edges that the bevel needs to accommodate. Use a power sander with a 50 grit sanding disc to bevel from the hole edge out to your mark. The fiberglass layers are going to be placed on the outside of the hull, so some type of flat backing must go on the inside of the hole to keep the wet fiberglass cloth from caving into the hole. Cut 6 pieces of the fiberglass biaxial cloth, with the first piece being the size and shape of the outer edge of the bevel, with the final 6th piece being the size of the hole itself. It is important to use fiberglass biaxial cloth for hole repairs. Wet out the beveled area of the hull with mixed epoxy. Lay the cut fiberglass biaxial cloth on a piece of plastic, going from large to small pieces, wetting out each piece as you lay it on top of the next. When wetted out properly, the biaxial cloth will become transparent. Put the wet out pile of fiberglass biaxial cloth into a piece of peel ply with small pieces down. Put this onto a piece of plastic, peel ply down. Mix Hawk Epoxy F2 filler into prepared Hawk Epoxy resin catalyst until a soft butter consistency is achieved. Brush this mixture onto the beveled area of the hull. Be sure to center your fiberglass and properly place it before applying. Wipe off any extra epoxy left over from the hull from squeegeeing out the air pockets with a clean cloth that has been dampened with solvent. This is much easier than sanding it off later. Allow the patch to cure for the recommended cure time per the instructions on the Hawk Epoxy resin can. Overnight is typically sufficient. After the cure, remove the repair area backing on the inside of the hull. The repair area on the inside of the hull can be left untreated if it will be hidden away from sunlight exposure. Remove blush with soap and water. Sand off any rough areas on the outside of the hull repair area with 80 grit sandpaper. Then sand the entire repair area so it is completely smooth with 100 grit sandpaper. This may require a disc sander if it's too difficult by hand. Blow off dust with air or brush off dust with a clean cloth. Prepare a batch of Hawk Epoxy resin and catalyst and coat the repair area with wet epoxy. With the remainder of the Hawk Epoxy resin, mix in the Hawk Epoxy F5 light density filler until mixture is medium thickness with no sag consistency. Then spread the mixture onto the repair area and squeegee the area as smooth as possible. Allow the area to cure until you can push the corner of the squeegee into the surface and only a slight indentation remains. Then repeat the process with Hawk Epoxy mixed resin and F5 light density filler, adding another coat of this mixture onto the repair area. Let this cure for 10 to 12 hours. Remove the blush with soap and water. Sand the repair area smooth with 80 grit sandpaper. To add color, mix another small batch of Hawk Epoxy, introduce the liquid dispersion, and this will seal and fill any low areas. Now that you have a strong and sturdy hull side, you are ready for paint.